Hi guys, I'm back. How good is that? Yeah, I am so happy to be back. I do have to explain, we lost a beautiful young girl in our family and it's been absolutely, look, epic is the only word I could say really. And because she was half Cook Islander Tahitian, it has been a Polynesian funeral and celebration. So we've been eating and singing and crying and partying for 2 weeks. And we even had a tattooist who came in and worked through the night, tattooing her name on 50 of her friends. And the support of the community has been phenomenal. They had to close the street at various times as the men did the haka. And if you don't know what a haka is, YouTube haka, H-A-K-A. And to have a haka done for you personally, let me tell you, is a very big deal. And it's just been awesome. Sad, but fabulous. So I'm back now in Melbourne. I have been in another state since August. So I'm back on track. But because of all this, I thought, where do I start with this reading today? And there's so much going on that it's hard to get a fix at the moment. So I thought, you know what, I'm just going to do a big Celtic cross. I very rarely do the big spreads. I'm going to do a big Celtic cross and see what comes through. And the subject is America between now and Christmas. So let's see what the cards have to say about that. Thank you individually for your patience, particularly those who were having classes or booked for readings. You've been so understanding. Thank you. I've been in touch with you in the last couple of days. We'll get back and then I'll open up for readings again very soon after that. All right. So let's see. I'm going back to the traditional rider-waite, the no-frills rider-waite, and we'll try and get a fix on what is happening, what fell out. The walking away card. Let's hope it means what we think it means. So I'm going to take that as the signifier. So the US between now and Christmas. The US between now and Christmas. All right. Come on down. Let's see. Yes, well. Okay. All right here. Now, beloved, intrepid viewers, we're off and running. As I said, the Eight of Cups has fallen out. I take this to be the Yeti who, I digress so early on, I think he's got various escape plans rattling around in his feeble brain. But this to me represents he's going to walk away in some form or other. So whether that's a first class plane trip to the Seychelles or something more modest, we will see. But we're talking about between now and Christmas. In fairness to the reading itself, it could just be that he's walking away from responsibilities, like maybe, because a lot of people are worried that he's going to start a war and this and that. As I hold this card, that's not my vibe. It's more that he's walking away from even pretending to be president. He's focused on his own survival. So what's acting across that, or the challenge to that? The emotion. It's dawned on him, and also I would say his criminal offspring. We all know that as soon as he does go, and bear in mind what I just said, I'd like to think it's his literal going, and it might be, but I think it's more symbolically walking away from the role. Family business means everyone's implicated, and I think the emotions pouring out within the Trump family, but this is about America too. So this can be fabulous emotion, but it can also be too emotional. And everyone has been so worn out and emotionally exhausted. This is what is acting across this. So at the root of America between now and Christmas, here comes my USA card. This is a time to remember the dream or the paradigm that America chose to represent itself, the best of America, in other words, which has always been greater than the sum of its parts, right? So this represents the American dream right here. Okay, so in the past, meaning in relation to this reading, so through the election and through this recent past, people are in retreat, partially because of COVID as much as anything else, apart from those who think it's a hoax. Those who actually realise we're dealing with a global pandemic, you know, would like to retreat, but it's a bit more complex than that. In a way, we haven't got the luxury of retreat right now in the world. On the one hand, we're being forced to, and it's about looking inwards as well. But the stained glass window in the Rider-Waite is also representative of a puzzle that needs to be solved. So I'm going to say, for me, this is about retreating, but thinking, still thinking, and trying to resolve the puzzle of what represents a better society than we're looking at now. And I'm talking globally here, so I'm shifting between the American experience and the global experience. We all have to think about what's going to happen from here, right? So then what are the influences? The influences are the juggling on the stormy seas, right? Things are still rough. I can pretty much guarantee you December, the rest of December is not going to be the easiest of times, and it's going to continue to be a juggle, and that's an emotional juggle, a financial juggle, and everything juggle. People are really hurting because the economy is contracting for all sorts of reasons globally, and this weird stimulus bill that is and isn't going forward, and all of that. People need another stimulus check, you know, but that doesn't seem to be on the table. So it's this juggling of money. Now, short-term future. This is the Wheel of Fortune. So we've got to keep reminding ourselves that we, again, I'm using the famous royal we, are sitting at a unique time in history. This is a transition time in history. I actually personally believe we've reached peak capitalism, and that includes corporate welfare. You know, every country, we in Australia subsidise the coal industry and all this rubbish that's been going on for hundreds of years and so forth. It's a massive global shift about justice, about social justice, and also for working people. It's no longer going to be all right to have these huge disparities in wealth. In these countries, like people would say, oh, America's a rich country. Well, it's not if you live in the Appalachians. And in Australia, it's the same too. So many of the workforce are casualised and so forth. So the gap between the working poor, who may well soon be the working homeless, and those who have too much of everything, this is the wheel turning. Okay, this is the wheel turning. It's starting now. There's a big eclipse coming up in December. The next 4 years are going to be really important, which is why we have to visualize a better society and not just go, oh, poor me. It's not an individual thing. It's a collective. And the more we think about the collective, the better we'll be and the quicker we'll move through this time of transition into something better. I'm not magically saying it'll be 5 minutes. It certainly won't be the 21st of January. 4 years. 4 years. Okay, now, coming up here, the attitudes that matter. The Lover's card. So this is not about, you know, getting out in a leopard skin miniskirt in the bar and finding the next love of your life. This is the lovers again in a broader sense. It's about pacts and alliances and people being drawn together. So a lot of people ask me in comments and emails and stuff, you know, like, what can I do about my Trump relatives, or, you know, what to do about this, and these terrible things are happening everywhere. Yes, they are, but we are being asked, I believe, I sincerely believe, by the universe to lift our vibration and be part of the change. And this is about new pacts and alliances. This is particularly important for young people. To take up the sword, not in the form of a weapon, but in search of truth. Remember the old Superman thing, wasn't it? Truth, justice, and the American way, or something. It's about, here we go, connecting it to the best of America, but also the best international values. And they have to be fought for. So there is an element that it is a weapon, but the weapon is truth, not a conventional weapon. The weapon of truth and justice. Well, what does that lead to? The hopes and the fears here are feeling impoverished. People are very afraid and have every reason to be afraid. There won't be enough money. Pentacles are also about jobs, real estate, security in any form. These are the hopes and fears. So normal people are worried about that, and the very wealthy are worried that they might lose some of theirs too. So this is an overriding hope and fear. So what about the outcome for this? The Queen of Cups. This is my Princess Diana card. This is female energy. This is a feminine principle. This is female values. If you listen to some of the good political astrologers, you'll realise we're coming to the end of 2,000 years of patriarchy and domination. And this is about looking after the children. This is about looking after people. A slight digression, viewers. The fastest growing group of hungry in the world are farmers. How can that be the case? Well, it's because farmers all over the third world have been the victim of companies like Monsanto, who sell seeds that can't be kept by the family and planted again. They have to sign contracts to get the fertilizer to do it, and then they can't afford to grow bananas and potatoes. They've got to produce what they're producing for the commercial market. So farmers everywhere are becoming the biggest group of hungry. And I think Monsanto and others actually should be done for crimes against humanity. I really do, because it's appalling what they've done. But this is about sorting all that out and the injustice that we're seeing in our own countries. Now, it would be easy to say, well, Australia is not as bad as the US. And in many ways we're not. And certainly we're taking the virus very seriously and so forth. But we have still allowed this to happen. And homelessness is hidden because people are sleeping on their sister-in-law's couch as opposed to on the street. And the numbers are being hidden. And women have the lowest paid jobs and the worst, what you call your 401k or whatever it is we call superannuation. Women have 30-year holes in the CV because they're either raising the kids or looking after the elderly relatives. So women all over the world have been doing the unpaid work of caring. And I think this is going to be recognised. So in the bigger picture, I think it's really important to take heart and realise we are at a juncture. We can either grovel for badly paid, insecure jobs and keep voting for Conservatives in your area who are going to defund your schools and your hospitals and everything else. Don't forget my position on defunding the police, right? I just want to recap on that. I think it was a bad use of language because it upsets people, freaks people out. It should be justice reinvestment. So in Australia, like America, it costs a huge amount to keep one person in jail a year. That could be reinvested in youth programs and so forth to keep people out of jail. So please start using the words justice reinvestment rather than defund the police. So, guys, I've missed you so much and I'm not going to leave you hanging much longer. I've got a lot to cover and I'll be back just in a few days. I've also heard from other readers as well, people aren't getting notifications for some reason. I don't think on my channel or other channels. I know Violetta's had an issue. So my advice is just tune in every 3 days or so and look for a new video. And I'll be there. Okay. Missing you and loving you. Bye for now. Ciao, ciao.